You're not going to use the story, Mr. Scott?
No, sir. This is the West, sir. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend.
That line from the great movie, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, accurately describes what happens to a great number of our historical events in America. It doesn't matter how remarkable, how unbelievable a true historic event is, additional mythology often emerges around that event to embellish reality further. I've come to understand this personally based on my presence in the Pentagon during the September 11th attacks. So many myths have emerged from that event that I spent more time dealing with the fictional narrative than with what actually happened. And the same can be true for the history of the World War II cruiser USS Indianapolis. The story of the Indy is incredibly compelling. She was President Roosevelt's ship of state during the 1930s. She earned 10 battle stars in places from the Aleutians to Okinawa. She served as Admiral Spruance's Fifth Fleet flagship. She was hit by a kamikaze during the pre-invasion bombardment of Okinawa. She delivered the atomic bomb to Tinian. And of course, there was her sinking in the Philippine Sea by Imperial Japanese Navy submarine I-58. The nearly 5 days that the survivors spent in the water, suffering from severe deprivation, the miraculous rescue, Captain McVeigh's unconscionable court-martial, and there was the decades of PTSD that the survivors experienced, resulting in suicide for some, to include Captain McVeigh himself. With all that true history, you would think that no embellishment of their story would be necessary. And yet, a mythology has emerged around the ship, some crafted by authors who didn't have the correct information when they wrote their books, some crafted by people who simply accepted statements that later proved to be untrue, some created by those who simply wanted to exploit the horror the survivors experienced in order to make money. Regardless, in too many cases, the fiction has come to overwhelm the truth. So let me say clearly, it does no service to the courage and sacrifice of the crews of USS Indianapolis to exploit the mythology and amplify the fiction. Quite the contrary. In my view, it diminishes the crew's real bravery and true accomplishments. The USS Indianapolis Legacy Organization has therefore decided to create a series of videos where we will deal with some of the most pervasive myths. In so doing, we hope to create a database for writers, documentarians, podcasters, and other researchers so you can separate fact from fiction and suppress rather than amplify the mythology. Because in the end, it's the crew members who must be celebrated, not the industry of lurkers who have emerged to deform and exploit their heroism for personal gain. I'm retired Navy Captain William Tody, former commanding officer of the USS Indianapolis submarine, current chairman of the USS Indianapolis Legacy Organization, and I hope you join me in our journey of discovery, seeking the truth in the story of Indy Maru.